Hi there, welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Hello, leader, and welcome back to episode 182 of the Fierce Factor podcast. It's Kaylee here, and thanks for following along over here. Today, I want to share a critical lesson with you that I have learned along my personal and professional growth journey. And that's really about who you let get into your brain. Today, we're going to talk about your personal board of directors. But before we dive in, a quick heads up. I need your help because we are hiring. Woohoo! I'm finally ready to partner with and mentor a brilliant marketing and communications specialist to essentially take over one of the most time-consuming parts of my job at KLC, because I love marketing so much, and it's so important to the way we do things around here. It has been one of the last roles I've really been ready and willing and able to delegate out. But listen, that's a huge win for our next rock star who is passionately aligned with our mission, is a go-getter, likes to have fun and work hard. So if you know someone who is obsessed with communications, creativity, and systems for marketing, please send them our way. You can learn more and apply for the role at klcconsultants.com/hiring. We will be accepting applications through October 18th. So cannot wait. Hopefully it's you. So I have an important conversation for us today, because if you're anything like me, here's what I know about you. As much as you want to prescribe to the ask for help, don't do it alone mentality, finding useful help can so often feel like a challenge instead of a relief. For me, truthfully, I don't want a bunch of advice. And it's not that I'm a lone wolf, although I do love my independence. But hearing my own voice in an overstimulated, overmessaged world is hard enough. And the thing is, most advice out there is just not useful. And here's why. It's generally unsolicited. Like when you're telling an unrelated story and someone decides to pipe in and tell you that your method is dangerous, or I wouldn't do it that way. It's like, thanks, but who asked you? As if you haven't fully calculated every scenario before you took that risk. But anyway, thanks for chiming in, Susie, right? It's usually self-serving. Ever listen to a talk at a conference and the speaker goes on and on about the economy and how difficult it's going to be to survive, the doom and gloom of what's to come, and then suddenly they have the magic technology to solve all your problems? Third, most people have no clue what they're talking about. Although usually well-intended, most people haven't walked your walk. They might have perspective. For example, your accountant or your toxin rep both have really great insights from their vantage point, but they more than likely have not lived in your reality. And so we appreciate the insights, but need to be careful how we choose to adopt those insights. Or maybe you're like my mother-in-law, who will pick a new carpet color and have samples like spewed around the house for a month, asking anyone and everyone their opinion until somebody chooses the color that she wanted all along. She wasn't really asking for advice. She was just asking for validation. More than likely, someone in your inner circle is rooting for you to fail. And I hate saying this, but unfortunately, I've seen this happen in alarming ways. It's often people we would never believe would turn on us or go behind our back. Or maybe they're really cheering for you to succeed, but looking for ways to hitch on to your success for themselves. And this is one of the things that's been most shocking to me, honestly. As a mentor of mine used to say, people will root for you until you exceed their expectations of you. And this message isn't created for fear or doom and gloom. It's just an honest conversation that I have with our clients routinely at KLC. Just be aware. Or as my husband tells our boys, have your head on a swivel. I think that's so funny to think about. Because here's the thing, we as female entrepreneurs in particular and especially in a booming industry like aesthetics, are 100% profiled as business novices. And we are essentially being targeted by anyone and everyone who thinks that they have an angle to get a piece of our pie. That in itself is also quite hilarious because I happen to work with some of the most brilliant business brains on the entire freaking globe. And PSA, private equity firms, please stop preying on perfectly capable and competent self-funded cash cow business owners because they are female. There is a segment of the market, but not everyone, because they have a female-owned business, is looking to sell to private equity. I don't know. I just thought I'd put it out there. Many women come to us thinking that they don't have answers because they've never run a business. And I have to remind them that no one has the answers when they start. No one's run a business until they have. That's the best way to learn how to run a business, is to get that experience. Not even me. And this is why our work at KLC is so powerful, quite frankly, because we understand the roadblock. It isn't a lack of business acumen. It's a lack of self-confidence in the ability to produce self-guided answers. But you have the answers, goddess. You just need to unleash your power and your wisdom. And that's the point. Most of us are seeking answers from experts and other outside sources, but no one knows your struggles, your goals, your realities like you. So who can you really trust to hold your highest regard at the forefront? Isn't that the million-dollar question? I remember many years ago, my husband's company was getting ready to go public and he was attending his first board meeting. He's the senior VP of sales and he needed to present on basically the entire multi-$100 million sales pipeline for his company, Clean Energy. And I asked him, what's a board of directors? And he said, well, it's an assembly of consultants basically who are hired by the company to guide the organization's decision-making and bring experiential expertise and wisdom that the company doesn't have. So I asked him, who's on the board of directors? And he shared titles and backgrounds of men and women ranging from industry-like company CEOs who had built and exited for multiples, policymakers, even the former head of the US Postal Service, which I thought was amazing. All people who had diverse and valuable perspectives to share, an influential first name basis network to tap into, and moreover, the company's well-being top of mind. And I was like, I need that. He was laughing. I'm like, no, I'm serious. I need my own personal board of directors. And that day really changed the way I looked at enrolling support and mentorship into my life. I realized that while I was looking at who to get advice from, that whole approach was all wrong. It's not about getting advice. It's about commissioning insights from a few select individuals who meet the following criteria. They have my best interest in mind. I trust them implicitly. They've overcome measurable adversity. They stand for something. They challenge me. They have a valuable perspective gleaned from experience, and they hold higher expectations for me than I do for myself. We've all heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But have you really thought about that? Do you have someone on speed dial that can cheer you up when you're feeling low, that can help you be rational when you want to explode? Someone who can remind you who the hell you are when you start to feel that imposter syndrome kick in and you lie to yourself that you're not ready or not good enough? And I'm not talking about your spouse. I'm talking about someone who has the authority to push your buttons a little without you blowing up. Someone who's far enough removed that they can truly help you reframe without putting their own self in the picture. I was listening to an Ed Milet podcast recently, and he said something that resonates for me. Most of my friends are also my role models. And I thought that was really profound. How inspiring would your life be if you got to hang with your role model on a regular basis? Pretty remarkable. If it's true that people will root for you until you exceed their expectations of you, you better find a tribe who expects you to absolutely freaking dominate. Don't be a victim to self-sabotage because you made the decision to be liked instead of investing to be in a circle that uplifts and empowers you to unleash your brilliance and climb to the top, goddess. Okay, that's all I have for you today. A quick heavy hit message. Don't forget to send me some candidates for our marketing and communications role. And please, if you get value out of this podcast, head to iTunes and leave us a review. It really means so much to me. Have an amazing week. I'll see you next time. Listen, leader, if you're vibing with me here, hang tight because I have a brand new resource for you. You are a successful, confident, powerful woman who just isn't into being average. No, you have a calling, and part of that calling is requiring you to level up. And I know that if you're working to cross the next $1 million milestone in your business, you need to be in the right circles. And perhaps that's why you found us. I'd love to invite you to join The Blueprint, a weekly resource for inspired, provocative thinkers who are taking this conversation to the next level. Get access to free business tools, podcast supplements, guideposts, and direct communication with me and my expert team. And of course, a masterfully curated circle of women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetics and wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to klcconsultants.com/blueprint. It's time to elevate. See you there, goddess.